Good evening, Diane Cox here, again for some tarot. I've been asked to look at a question by one of my subscribers, so thank you. And the question is about what will happen to South Africa without the funding of America. Let me just go back and have a look. What is going to happen with the economy in South Africa regarding sanctions after sanctions have been applied by America? So yes, good question. I thought it was a very good question. So thank you, I'm going to say your name, Amanda, for that question. Really excellent. And so I have been sitting here shuffling, and luckily a card leapt out as the significator. By the way, it is blowing a gale here at the moment, like it often is, and it's been 32 degrees here today, so I thought I'd wait until the sun's gone down. It's still boiling, hence me looking a little bit, how should we say, glowing. So I've shuffled the cards, and this is what leapt out. I was actually thinking of South Africa and, you know, its whole economic situation at the moment, and it's really funny. Well, kind of not funny, but it kind of is funny. So this is what came up, right? This is the significator. It's the Eight of Pentacles reversed. Okay, now when the Eight of Pentacles is upright, it's all about keep plugging away, keep perfecting what you're doing, you know, refine what you're doing. It's great, keep going. You might be starting a new project, but, you know, learning a new skill and really applying yourself very studiously to the skill, okay? And I think this is quite kind of telling of the card. So look at the pentacles, right? So when you reverse them, they turn into the kind of pentacles you really don't want to be having around, the reversed pentacle. Which is the darker aspect of it. So when the Eight of Pentacles is reversed, it's things not working. It's things not actually turning out the way you want. It's not hard work. It's things going awry. There's problems. There's not starting. It's a kind of chaos. It's a little bit of it's not working out. It's not working out. It's not working out. Okay, so I think it's kind of a perfect significator. You know, I can't help but get political on this question, can I? Because I've always thought about, you know, what would happen if a country just decides to withdraw funding. And it's interesting interesting in inverted commas, what Donald Trump is doing. Regarding taking funding away from countries who won't follow their dictate, which is how I see it. You know, it's like wherever America funds, it's just like bribing, isn't it? So basically, you bribe people that you'll have their military bases, or that America bribes that they can take your gems, your minerals, your rare earth things, which is why they want Greenland. Blah, 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 let's keep it to South Africa. So my dear friend Amanda, basically I was saying I need to do a bit of research about how much money America's actually giving to South Africa, and she very nicely came back to me, saved me doing the research, and said we're talking $440 million, and that must be each year. So I wonder where that goes. If you know anything about South African governing, like a lot of places, there's quite a lot of, shall we say, not clean audits. Do you get the picture? That kind of idea. Not kind of just like we're seeing in America now with the Pentagon, money, you know, millions, billions going missing. It's like you see in the Ukraine, all this money's been given out, but you know, when they do an audit on it, it's anyway. We're talking about South Africa. How's the economy going to be? Well, the significator is like, well, it's already kind of not working, is it? It's the reversed Eight of Pentacles, so it's not working, is it? So let's start with that kind of thing. Oh, and then we've got this. The devil reversed. Okay? Now, obviously, the devil upright is about getting yourself into order, getting yourself. It's fighting the dark aspects of self, or fighting the dark aspects of what is going on, because we're talking about an economy of a country. It's like fight, get your darkest urges sorted out. These two people at the bottom, they are not kind of tethered forevermore. You'll see that the chains, they can just take them off. It's like they're not locked, they're not padlocked. It's coming to terms with the darker drives of the human condition. And now that could be talking about corruption, accepting bribes. Like like I say, with America, they bribe countries to just vote for them in various, in the UN and all that kind of stuff. And if you're getting money from America, that money is to ensure that you will always vote for their policies and their laws, and they bribe, America-friendly laws. I'm only using America because it's all, the money is about Donald Trump and all that. But they give $440 million, and then South Africa is, makes laws or has tariffs or whatever specific to America-friendly stuff. Okay, I'm not bashing America. I'm just talking about the politics and the various backhanders that affect the way things run massively. So we're talking about the devil reversed. Now, you know what came up for me the minute I saw that? I thought like a freedom of that. The devil reversed, you kind of look at what's going on. Now, you know what's really interesting? The opposite of the Eight of Pentacles. The devil reversed. So look at the pentacle at the top. It's already a reverse pentacle, the shadow side. And when you turn the devil upside down, it becomes a upright pentacle of good. I think this feels like, today, it feels like a card of getting out of that, freeing yourself from the shackles of bad behavior, of dark shadow behavior, of the primal kind of behaviors, and it kind of over the reverse Eight of Pentacles, it kind of feels like, it's time to turn it upside down. It's time to really empty out, and empty out all of that badness, that corruption, that greed, the economy. It's time to clear it up. It's time to I think personally, it's time for Africa to just, South Africa to get on its feet. Get rid of all this kind of, unhelpful behaviour, thought process, You have to be careful what kind of words you use when you talk about South Africa, because it's a highly sensitive subject. And I would say, as these people, when it's upright, feel disempowered, the devil reversed to me tonight feels like empower. Find the, mine your own stuff. Get your minerals out yourself. Feed it back into the country. All the massive minerals and wealth in Africa that's been kind of plundered by the West. It's like, get your act together, really kind of bring it home, get yourself sorted, get these resources controlled. And anyway, who am I? I'm just sitting here with my tarot cards on a lovely moonlit night, I have to say. So anyway, so that's what I see. Let's talk about a crossing card. Is it a bridge or an obstacle? The devil reversed. Is it a bridge or an obstacle? I feel today, tonight, looking at this card, feeling the vibe, it feels like a bridge. It feels like there's a maybe an excitement about just liberating the self from what they think are the shackles, of the past. And yeah, let's just leave that there. Those of you who know South Africa know exactly the crack here. Okay, the overarching card. Wow, look at that. Marvellous. So the overarching card here is the Ten of Pentacles. So we've got the 8 reversed, then we've got the Devil, then we've got the Ten of Pentacles upright. Okay, so that's really interesting. That what will happen to the South African economy when the US take away their money and they sanction? You know what I think about this? I think Not only everything I've just said, if only South Africa could, be truly united in the massive success of the country and everything it has to offer culturally, and the land, the beauty, everything about it, and the minerals, the mineral wealth and everything like that. This is possible. This is possible. Now, one thing about Africa that I learned a lot when I first came here, it's like, people who want to help African countries, they always overlay their own ancestry, their own cultural practices, their own heritage. They can't help it. It's natural for anyone to do that, isn't it? And then almost like think that they know better than Africans themselves. It's something I came across a lot, and it was a really good learning curve. It's like, just because you do that in that country, don't think that that's an African practice or they need that in their country. Okay. So what I also think about this card, this 10 of Pentacles, is, you see in Africa, in the more Central Africa, Northern, East and West Africa, you see Russia moving in. You see China moving in. And one thing that's very interesting about the Chinese, many years ago, they basically took South Africa to court because they were saying that when apartheid was on, they were also, there was a prejudice against the Chinese, and they couldn't move as freely like a lot of other people couldn't. And basically they fought and got themselves recognised as black. Okay, so basically what that does, with the laws here, it basically puts them in a position where they can get access to, a lot of different kinds of, land. I mean, I know it's all about the land expropriation, but the Chinese are recognised as almost like indigenous black people, and therefore it opens up, let's say, lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of doors, and it makes business for them in South Africa, and owning land and business and everything else very fortuitous. So I wonder if Africa is a little bit slow on the uptake, getting itself in order. I wonder if that 10 of Pentacles is down to Russia help, China help, BRICS help. I know obviously South Africa is part of BRICS, so it's an encouraging sight to see that, because America does think that maybe South Africa can't cope without America's money. And also what I find, I'm going to say this out loud. I'm going to say it out loud. It's quite fascinating, because what Cyril Ramaphosa did in his State of the Nation address last week was to stick up for the Gazans and the Palestinians and say, we completely support them. I see that Trump wanted to leave the ICC, the International Court of Justice thing, and because South Africa had basically brought this claim against Israel of genocide. So Trump wanted to whitewash that under the carpet, just push it away. And I really love the fact that Ramaphosa stood up for Palestine and just said, no, absolutely not. And I think that's part of the reason why, the funding was also stopped, because Ramaphosa is against genocide. Okay, I know there's some people that would say stuff about that, but let's carry on. Okay, so at the base of the question is the reversed Ace of Swords. Now again, the Ace of Swords, upright is great ideas, new ideas, great kind of thinking coming along. It's thought, it's air, it's communication. And so when it's upside down, you know what comes up for me when I look at that? The mental mindset could be a problem here. And the mental kind of stubbornness, or it could just not be quite the right time. But when is going to be the right time? When you've had all your funding, not all of it, but you've had $440 million taken out of your budget. But it means there's for me tonight, it means, okay, there's opposition to certain ways of going forward. There's kind of, I don't want to say destructive thoughts, but it's like, what I see is like, you know, people coming up with thoughts and other people putting swords in them and kind of cutting them, just saying, no, that's not going to work, this isn't going to work. You know, so this is like an, you know, aces are meant to be yeses in readings, so you go, oh yeah, great, it's going to be all good. But you know, I have had experiences where yes, the upright aces have actually not, you know, I thought it was a yes and then it hasn't quite turned out that way. So this reversed ace of swords to me feels like, no, not yet. It's not going to happen. We're talking about the economy, what's going to happen. There's going to be people, like always, like with the GNU, the Government of National Unity, where if you kept abreast with the news, it's like not unity at all. It should be the Government of not unity. So I think that Ace of Swords, let's see what's in the past. Okay, let's just keep going. Okay, lovely. In the past, it's the Hermit. Okay. You know, use that wisdom. You know, that this you know, this kind of Chronos figure, the sage, you know, the cycles. You know, just realize when you need to end the cycle. And you know, being next to the Ace of Swords reversed, end this mental cycle, this mental paralysis about the ability of South Africa. You know, I know a lot of people do it, and people can't help it because it's a big trauma, and unless you solve a trauma and you deal with the trauma, it keeps kind of manifesting in different ways. So in South Africa, there's a lot of trauma, as you would all know, and it's that kind of just allow the cycle to finish, allow that kind of thing just to I'm not saying forget it, but instead of walking, you know, with your feet facing forward but your eyes facing backwards, it's like it's the end. Let the cycle end. Let this constant kind of, you know, this constant kind of persecution end. And when you're looking at South Africa, which is so rich, people are amazing, the land is amazing, the potential is amazing. It's like just okay. The wisdom to know when a cycle has ended, the wisdom to know it's never going to be forgotten. Like lots of countries have lots of things happen that are quite traumatic, and you know, you either allow that to define your country or you use it to empower yourself and use it for the good of your own country. The Hermit. So let me just think about the economy. Yeah, I think that end of a cycle, you see, you know, end of funding, end of, you know, just kind of relying and moving into empowerment. The reverse devil. Okay, what's in the future? Oh, okay. This is in the future. It's upright. The Nine of Swords. We all know what that's about. If you know if you watch these things and you know about a little bit about the tarot. So the Nine of Swords, sitting up in bed, worrying, worry, destructive thoughts, self-defeating thoughts, constant worry. Again, it goes very much with the Ace of Swords reversed. It's like, don't know what's going to go on. And and again, the message of the Nine of Swords, it's like, it's at the moment, it's thought, it's the element of air, it's potential, it's possibility, it's not necessarily concrete, it's keeping you awake at night, it's kind of torturous thoughts. So when we're asking the question, what's going to happen to the South African economy, well, people are very much worrying about it, and I don't just mean the people on the street, people in governments, people who, you know, I know in every government or every country that funding has been taken away, there's big worry about the medicine, the medical processes, schooling, you know, the whole kind of thing that all this kind of aid helps towards. So there is going to be a lot of worry. There's going to be a lot of you know, just kind of, well, there's just going to be, you know, deep discussions, frank, open discussions. People are going to be really kind of despairing. I mean, it is a card of despair. It's like, what is going to go on here? That's in the future. So let's see if there's anything nicer in where South Africa sees itself. Oh, this is great. Look where South Africa sees itself. Absolutely on it, you know? absolutely on that. The magician, you've got it all here. You've got everything here to make it work. You know, just kind of download your potential. Just align with the divine and bring it down. You know, all the elements are there. The magician, it's not Hermes, forget who it is now, but it's like it's the red cloak of power with the white of purity. You know, that white purity, that kind of just bringing things in without clouded judgment, without the kind of dark shadow affecting everything. It's pure potential being manifested here, right, with these lovely red roses at the bottom, like fertile, great ability. So that's very encouraging. How do other people think? Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so how do other people look at it? That it's the King of Pentacles reversed. So obviously the King of Pentacles upright is you know, in my Mythic Tarot deck, it's King Midas. And this, so when it's upside down, it's so this way up, it's good business. It's kind of kindliness, an ability to make money, a knowingness how to run a business. And so when you kind of reverse it and people are looking at South Africa and going, okay, how is South Africa running their business of the country? I would say people think they're doing a pretty poor job because they see this king reversed and it's like all the money's draining out. There's nothing left. Again, upside down, it's the reversed pentacle. It's like they're not doing a very good job of that. They're just letting it all run out, which, you know, you have to be kind of realistic about, don't you? You know, for all the wealth and all the incoming, then, you know, you have to be realistic about where is that going, what is happening there. So that's how other people see South Africa. Not coping, not managing the situation. I think it's quite interesting, this whole thing about land expropriation without compensation. And I again, mindful about my words here, but that whole very interesting thing about just, you know, making laws in this day and age like that. And I think it's quite interesting historically that, you know, people want to repeat what they didn't like having done to them, but they want to repeat it now. It's like, how does that work? How do you evolve from being in a horrible situation and seeing these people completely mismanage a country, but then when you get into power, you want to do the same? I don't get it. It's like, why do you want to do the same? Why don't you do something far more brilliant and unified and, you know, bright and light? You know, why do you just want to repeat the history that you hated? But hey, people do, don't they? Hopes and fears. Judgment. Karma. I always see this as, not always actually, I don't always see this as karma, but today the first word that came up was karma. Judgment, the rebirth. You have this fantastic angel calling the souls back from the dead as they rise up. And you have the angel's trumpet calling, you know, come and, you know, rise to your purpose. Come and, you know, kind of, I just love that. It's kind of, come and kind of try it again, you know, let's get this karmically correct. Rise up and be judged. New beginnings, again a new start. So I think that's quite an interesting double kind of meaning card for me. So it's karma. Okay, you could take that a few ways, couldn't you? Which karma? Okay, the karma of the country. I mean, this country's got such a deep and complex history. Right from the Khoi and the San people that were first here, the people that roamed on the land and did as little harm as possible, to so many countries and different tribes coming down from the middle of Africa and, you know, coming down to the south. It's like, and then the Dutch and then the Brits and then the Portuguese, the French. It's like Africa itself's got such a massive history. It's an exhaustive read. So it's interesting to think, okay, karma of a country. We're asking about the like South African economy, and it's like, okay, how's it going to do? So it's a chance for a rebirth, isn't it? It's a chance to start again, to answer the call, to hear the clarion from a whole different area. And I see a lot of African countries are saying, I think it was the guy in Kenya saying, okay, they're taking their funding away, but it's a wake-up call for us Africans to go, we can do this on our own. We don't need the West to continually prop us up. We are kind of completely able to do this ourselves. So maybe this kind of talk and this kind of very new beginning, and remember, Neptune is about to go into Aries, the North Node has shifted into Pisces, this Saturn is going into Aries, it's full on power, it's fire power, and all these new beginnings. And I'm seeing Pluto really, when I look at what's been kind of brought up about the US aid programs and what this money's been spent on, and the likes of Chelsea Clinton getting a handout of $80 million and George Soros getting a handout of $267 million. These billionaires, obviously Chelsea Clinton isn't a billionaire, but she's a multi-millionaire. And I bet, businesses that just wanted to start, like a food program for people on the street probably got nothing at all. And it's just like so perverse. But so back to South Africa and the question, what's going to happen when the money runs out and America isn't? Hopes and fears. There's a new beginning. So it's a hope. There's a new beginning. There's going to be people coming up from the kind of underneath the bushes, from behind buildings, maybe people in political parties that basically rise up and take their stand. I saw a very interesting video that went viral the other day of a young black guy talking about the land expropriation, a very interesting point of view. And all the comments underneath this video were saying, why aren't people like this in government? Because he was basically saying the land expropriation is obviously one of the first things that communist countries do. They just take everything and the government becomes, in charge of everything, and then it's the communist playbook, so to speak. Okay, so the outcome. You ready for this? This card is coming up a lot this year. A lot, okay? It's the Death card. Okay, so end of cycle. It's a bit like the Hermit. It's the cycle, the Sage of the Hermit, and now we've got the Death card. Just kind of, again, we've got the ending of cycles, the finishing of stuff, finishing things off. So obviously it's an end of a cycle regarding the money, the aid. It's the end of bending over for America. It's the end of reliance, dependence. Maybe it's the death of dependency on other money. It's the death of maybe South Africa mismanaging their resources. I look at that and I go, yeah, it could be, if I'm looking at it very, very well, you've got that white flower on the black flag. Again, the white representing, it's a clean it out. As I always say, death is the moment where everything heals. Death is the moment where all of the woes and the worries all align, and it really doesn't kind of, it's all over. So, and the Death card is also about going forward with, your knight on the shining white horse. It's like, okay, accept the ending of things. So when you talk about a kind of a governmental thing like this in the economy, now of course I could say it's the death of the economy. It's the death of anything, working out. And it's hard because Ramaphosa was going on in his State of the Nation address about how brilliant it was that they'd got 28 million people on benefits and how fantastic that was. And then, you know, someone pointed out that there was only, that's 4 times many people that pay tax. So say you've got 28 million people paying tax. I believe there's only 4.6 people paying tax. So you can see what's actually wrong in that simple mathematical understanding. If you've only got, you know, 4.5 million paying tax, and then you've got 28 million receiving benefits, that's. But he thought it was brilliant. Again, out of the communist playbook, you know, just get people dependent on the system, so to speak. So it could be that, you know, the whole death of the economy. If I look at what's underneath it, the rebirth, you know, the judgment card, you know, and again, if I wanted to, I could go, okay, well, the judgment is the mismanagement. You're being judged on the mismanagement, and you've got a chance to rise again and do it. You could go, no, it's the death of the economy. It's over. It's finished. I might do a little kind of clarifying card there. It's the death. Used well, because this is all about acknowledging the end of things, acknowledging that either the job was over, the relationship's over, the home you lived in was over, you know, the kind of relationship you had, you know, with your best friend is kind of, you know, over because, you know, whatever happened. It could be, you know, all kinds of things. A family feud is over. You know, there's all kinds of things that the death card can relate to. But of course, it can be the economy's over. I mean, you've got these 2 cards. It's like, that's, you know, if you're saying what's going to happen to the South African economy, it's going to be tough, and it's going to show people how either South Africa can't manage itself without other people propping it up, or if we look at it the other way, it's like, okay, it's the death of obviously how it used to be. It's the death of a handout from America. It's the death of that. Doesn't mean that someone else like China or Russia isn't going to, you know, come in, or other BRICS nations, some of the UAE. So it could be the death of how it. Well, it is the death of how it was. Not could be. It is. And then it's up to again the free will to go. Okay. You haven't got $440 million from America. You've got the UAE, you've got Russia, you've got China, you've got new opportunities, you've got new things that can come if you're willing to kind of open up and maybe get some lessons in managing money. So that's the outcome, death. So I'll be really interested in anyone's opinion of any of those cards. I mean, I love this, you know, this abundance, you know, this huge abundance of the 10 of Pentacles. You know, you've made a long-lasting edifice. You've made a long-lasting legacy on Earth. You know, the 10 of Pentacles is a beautiful card to have, and the Magician is a beautiful card to have. You've got to sort out the devil, you've got to sort out the 8 of Pentacles and just kind of having your head in the sand. You've got to get free of the corruption, I personally think, with this. You've got to free yourself from the devil's grip, you know, the dark shadow grip of corruption and mismanagement and lack of experience and anything that any person in any job would experience if things aren't going right. You know, if any job you've got, then if it's kind of the results aren't coming in, you know, if you're teaching people spelling, and you're an English teacher and you can't spell, then that's not really, you're not quite the right person for the job. You know, if you're an English teacher and you can't, you know, teach basic grammar, you're not the right person for the job. Okay, so you've got to get the right people for the job, and there's a lot of worry coming. And there's a lot of, I have to say the word here, dishonesty comes up, all right? That comes up, dishonesty. There's a lot to get through, isn't there? There's a lot to get through before, you know, this really comes to pass. But this is the overarching card. So this is like, this is here. This is what's going to make the difference. I think it's I think it's aid from other people. I think it's aid, guidance, training, just training people how to manage, and you know what this could be? It just came up to me now. The judgment of like in a lot of countries, people can do all kinds of, embezzling and wrong things and nothing happens. Hello, Rufus. Do you agree with that? I think you do, don't you? I know the door's shut. That was to stop you coming in, but now you've leapt through the window. But hey. So this could be like, the judgment of like, this can't go on. You are being judged for mismanaging. You are being judged for not having the qualifications to do the job of running a country. Look at Rufus's face. You are being judged on, stealing and, corruption. You are being judged, and because of that, this death card it's not going to work unless you accept guidance from other people. That 10 of Pentacles, that's what I get. And unless you free yourself from the clutches of the kind of bad ways of acting with all this stuff. So I don't think it does need a clarifying card, but I'm going to have a quick peek anyway. Oh, Wheel of Fortune. See, it's all in the fate of free will and what people are going to choose. So I think with that, we will call it a complete reading. And sorry, Rufus, because I've finished now, so you're kind of, a bit late.